Hi, we're in our Student Companion Notebook, Lesson 8-8. That's page 254. That's what you should have out in front of you, Student Companion, page 254. We're doing Lesson 8-8. So factoring by grouping. It's what we've been doing the last couple of days. So really this should just simply be a review. So draw a line from each expression in column A to the greatest common factor of terms of the expression in column B. So we're going to look at this first column and we're going to determine what our greatest common factor is. We're going to find it in column B and we're going to draw a line to it. It's simply in plain language what's going to happen here. So my first expression is 4x squared plus 6x. So what is my greatest common factor of 4 and 6? That's 2. And I can take 1x out because this only has 1x. So I see 2x here. So I'm simply going to draw a line connecting those two. My next expression is 7x cubed minus 14x squared. I immediately notice that 7 goes into 14. So 7 would be my greatest common factor. This has 2 x's. So I'm going to look for 7x squared. And that's right here. So I'm going to connect those two. 3x squared minus 12x as well. I noticed that 3 goes into 12 and this has 1x. So I'm looking for 3x. Next expression is 18x squared minus 33x plus 12. I can't take out any variables because this last term has no variables. 3, because this is 3 and 11, I can take out only a 3. So I'm going to match it to the 3 by process of elimination, plus this has 2x plus 1 and this has 2x plus 1. I'm going to connect those. That greatest common factor is going to be 2x plus 1. All right, so moving on. Why 4 is not the GCF of 12 and 24? Okay, so it's asking us why 4 is not the greatest. Well, 12 is a factor of 24. So when we're looking for greatest common factor, 4 is a factor. It is not the greatest factor, okay? So we're going to say 4 is not the greatest factor. And you know 12 goes into 12 one time. So that's why. All right, vocab word. Let's take a look. Vocab word is cube. So for something to be cubed, there's a 3, right? So 2 cubed, this is a cube. It means 3, okay? All right, so circle the vocabulary. We're now using the word cube. Circle each number that is the cube of an integer. So, yeah, 3 times 3 is 9, so that's not going to work. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. So this would be 2 cubed, right? This one, 3 cubed, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. All right, so cross out the expressions that are not cubic polynomials. Well, this is squared, not going to work. That's a cube. This is squared, not going to work. Cube. So that simply is all we were looking for. All right, so switch page. Factor a cubic polynomial. So here's where we have to the third, right? So rewrite the polynomial by grouping 2 terms with the highest degrees and grouping the other terms. All right, so here's where we would cut it in half, right? So 8t cubed plus 14t squared. Then we've got 20t plus 35, right? We have it broke in half. Then it says, factor out the greatest common factor. Well, it gives us 4t. So what times 4t is 8. So that's 2. Obviously, t, there's 1. I need 2 more. So 2t squared is what I'm going to divide all of that by, right? And so I get 2t squared, 4t plus 7. Whatever this is, this must be the same, right? So we know that's going to be 4t plus 7. What times 4t gives us 20t? So obviously, 5 times 4 is 20. The t is already there. So now, the factors of this, I'm going to take the 2t squared, put it here, the 5, put it here, and then this just gets written down, 4t plus 7. Now, again, I can check my answer, right? So I have 2t squared plus 5, and I have 4t plus 7. I'm going to FOIL. So first, 8t squared, outer, inner, and last. Okay, does that match? 8t squared plus 14t squared plus 20t plus 35. It matches, and we did a great job. Remember that I don't make you check your answers on your assignments, but that is always an option if you're wondering if you did it right or not. So what is the factored form of 6h to the 4th plus 9h to the 3rd plus 12h squared plus 18h? Factor. So can I always remember GCF first? So is there a greatest common factor that I can pull out of all of these? 3, 3, 3, 3, and they all have an h. So I can factor out a 3h, right? So I factored out the GCF. So 3h goes on the outside. What do I have left? So basically, I'm dividing this whole thing by 3h. So that's 2h to the 3rd, 3h squared, 4h, and we know that that's 6, and I already took out the h, right? So group the terms with the greatest degrees. Again, you notice 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 terms, right? So I'm going to cut it in half right there. So 2h cubed, 3h squared, not squares. And then here we'll go 4h and 6. Okay? So I'm going to factor this down. This, my greatest common factor, is h squared. So basically we're dividing it by h squared. I get 2h plus 3. And remember, whatever this is, this has to be the same, right? And here, take these 2 and I put them in, right? So refactored, it's going to look like this, right? The 3 is on the outside, and it's going to say 2h plus 3. It broke it up weird. And then h plus 3, right? I drew lines where I shouldn't have drew lines. Oh, I cut it off. There you go. Final answer, 3 times 2h plus 3 times h plus 3, right? So h squared and 2 were actually over here, not over here. That's why I scribbled out my lines. They came down over here. The way they have it grouped is different. All right, top of the page, finding dimensions of a regular prism. Same thing. So circle the greatest common factor of the polynomial. So here is this polynomial. What is the greatest common factor? 2x, right? So I'm going to factor out the 2x. So the answer clearly is going to be the one that has 2x on the outside, right? These do not. So there's no way that they could be. So the expression AC for the trinomial factor in exercise 11 is 60, right? It's the term here in front of the x cubed. And then it says, in order to rewrite bx, which is the middle term, you have to factor the trinomial. So you must find the two numbers whose product is, remember back, whose product is 60 and whose sum is 34. Remember, this is the same as the diamond, multiplied and added, right? It's the exact same thing, just a quick review of what we did before. So then it says rewrite bx, which is 34, into this polynomial. So the factors are going to be 12, and if that's 12, the other factor is going to be 5. And actually, this is 17. I looked up here and not down here, sorry. So this is 17. My brain's going faster than my hands. All right, so to do that, I have 12 and 5. That multiplies to give me 60, adds to give me 17. So I know this is 12x, so this is going to be 5x. So we're going to factor it by regrouping. So I'm going to cut it in half, right? Right? How am I cutting it in half? What is my greatest common factor of 30 and 12? 6. So 6x works. So I'm left with 5x plus 2. And if 5x plus 2 is here, 5x plus 2 must go here. So now what times 5x gives me 5x? Oh, that's 1. So I'm going to shoot straight to your answer would be 6x plus 1, 5x plus 2, right? These two go together in that first box, and this one goes in the last parentheses, right? So this is half review, half what we're going to move on next after we're done with grouping. We're going to shoot to problems that have something in front of the x squared. It simply won't just be x. So be super excited for that. Okay, see you in class.